hottest take right now?
Uh, I think the biggest one, I have said it on the show, right, is when you got the right to vote, you got the right to catch these hands. So
You did say that. You did say that. I don't know why it sounds like you said it so many times. You did say that. Yeah.
It's still hot take. Yeah, but I mean,
Okay. So yeah, for first time listeners, explain that though.
yeah,
Explain
yeah. I was
what it
gonna
means.
explain that. So it's we were. I want to say in the show we were talking about should you hit women or whatever, and what I was saying is I don't feel like you should just walk up to a woman, hit her. You shouldn't wail on a woman. You know, but at the same time, if you ball your fist up and hit me like I'm a man, I'm I have a right to hit you back. And so that's what I mean by like we everybody feminists out there, everybody talks about equal rights and everything like that. You have an equal right to catch these hands because I don't know. I'm 5'6", 152 pounds, right? Like when you think about that, there are women out there that actually are bigger than me, and maybe stronger than me, and so this whole dynamic of oh, just because you're a woman, I can't hit you, I can't defend myself. I disagree with. I vehemently disagree with. So, what I said was, when you got the right to vote, when you wanted these equal rights, you equally got a chance to catch these hands, and I'm 100% stand by that. So, there it is.
Okay. Okay. I'm a little bit more liberal on that. You, you don't hit me in my face on my groin area, and don't spit. Do not spit. But him me in the arm and chest, we'll see.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like it's one of those things that do I really feel like you legitimately could hurt me or you did hurt me, right? Like there's a difference of hitting me in my
So,
chest, hitting me in my arm, like boy, you stop playing type thing
well,
versus
but
stepping to me
in your
like you're a
situation,
grown
Roger,
ass
you're talking about
man.
somebody you probably know, or
Mm.
are you talking about like somebody you know, or like you're dating a chick and she wails on you? But or maybe I should ask you that, Buff, because you seem like you're a little more understanding. So Tab does this. She hits you in the chest or she hits you in the arm and stuff like that. As long as she doesn't, what did you say?
Don't spit. Don't hit me in the face or the groin area.
So random chick at insert your favorite restaurant gets upset because she wanted to cut in front of you in line and she didn't see you standing there, and she goes, when you say, excuse me, ma'am, the line starts back there, and she yells and cusses you out and slaps you.
Oh,
Or
slaps
whatever.
me. Slaps me?
Well, you know what? Just by your tone, I already know your answer.
Okay.
Well, she didn't stop you.
It
She
didn't hurt.
punched you. She punched you in your chest, right? Like going somewhere. I'm taking this spot.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's two very different reactions.
Yeah, because
slap
you
me,
said
it's gonna be
your
some
rule
Hadouken
is she hit.
going on
Yeah,
in there.
you said your
Yeah.
rule is she hits you in your face. So we ain't
Yeah.
gonna say slap. Say
Now
she punched you in your chest.
she punched me in and listen, she's not automatically off the hook if she punched me in the chest. I'm just saying you have a better shot at a lesser reaction as long as you avoid the face, don't spit, no groin. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. My whole thing is I'm with you, Buff, in the grand scheme of things, but Risey, I'm still on your page because I think we don't like to play life fair. Like it's in either of the situations. Your spouse, loved one comes and they hit on you, stuff like that. There's a lot that's going on there. Let's unpack it. We don't unpack it. Like, what about me made you think you should hit me? Like, and after that, like if we're in a heated battle and you get mad enough to hit me, and my wife's like super prissy, super nice, and all this stuff. In the 15 years we've known it, I'm gonna say she's never disrespected me, right? Never disrespected me. And all of a sudden you come slap me, mush me, or whatever y'all doing in these streets these days. My natural, like, I'm caught off guard. Like we're already arguing stuff like that, and before we get to that point, some things had to be said. So we're both heated, right? And you and my wife is 5'1", 120 pounds tops, right? And you do that to me. I don't know what makes people think there is some just class or just hormone or something that we have outside of love and self-control that stops us. And I'm not making an excuse, but I'm also a person that when I say I get it, I get it. Like you just like there's so many things that go behind this. You had enough gall about yourself to do this. You felt protected enough. Like you were going to try me knowing that this could happen, but you're like, you know what? He ain't going to hit me, so I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have that same energy with other women. And so all this is going through my head, like she is purposely trying me. It's not just the heat of the battle. It's you're purposely trying me. If either one of us got in that argument and we got close enough, we're already like, okay, if I touch Buff, this shit's gonna go left. Like it's gonna happen. If I touch Rock, it's going to go down. You don't have to like, if I push in your chest, I punch in your chest, it's like, you know what? Ferg's probably having a bad day. You know, he's not really violent. Like, you don't have to calm down like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the same thing, but all of a sudden we're supposed to be super real men all of a sudden, right? A real man's not going to react, and he knows that doesn't hurt. It's not that it hurts or hurts my pride. It's in that moment, I'm like, are you fucking serious? So, I'm with that. I'm with that.
All right. Now, what's your hot take?
My hot take is kind of twofold. It's, you kind of talked about shaming people. Like sometimes you got to hold shame. My thing is, I'm a proponent of the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. Like we got to stop lying to each other. We got to stop sugarcoating things that are potentially hurting us, hurting each other. You know, that's why a lot of my takes are hot, because I'm not saying it's an absolute, but there's a part of the truth that we're not considering. We don't talk about these things. So even, you know, hoe shaming, stick with that. I'm not saying that you can't be a sexual creature. You can't be a sexual being. I'm saying realize that there are potential outcomes that come with that. And don't get mad at me for having my opinion and my standard based off of the freedoms that you think you should be able to do whatever you want. And then I'm wrong for having an opinion on your actions. You have an opinion about my opinion on your actions, but I can't have an opinion on your actions. You know, you can't fat shame people. Women have every term under the sun to describe their bodies and support their bodies. Niggas are fat. Niggas are husky. There's no positive imagery for fat guys. Like if you're out of shape, let's stop. You know, I'm not saying you have to be skinny. I'm saying but let's not normalize some of the things that we normally would say, because what's happening is people are saying these things behind your back. People are saying, "Boy, I can't believe she got that on." Yes, bitch, wear that. Like it's all like they're saying it behind your back. And you're a beautiful woman, and there's so many things that you can wear and so many other things that you can do to accentuate your beauty. You know, any of those things, you know, I have to, you know, but we can't talk about body shaming, but you can talk about us being short. You can talk about, you know, you can talk about dick size. You can talk about all these things that come to men. We have to deal with whatever you say it is the truth about us. Whatever it is, that is our truth. There's no protected society for niggas with little dicks. Them niggas gotta pay. You know, that's just their world, right? It is what it is. You know, God. Like, but if women are flat chested or whatever, or you know, like, see, that's all y'all care about is big titties, big ass. Like, you're shamed for these things. Like the truth hurts. It is what it is. And if you're a nigga with, small pecker, then there's gonna be limitations to your life as well. Like you gotta accept the truth. It is what it is.
I don't really have a lot of pushback on that one. You got anything for that one, Rise?
Nope. Facts. All facts.
All right, so mine is I believe mine is going to be a bit divisive. In fact, I'm probably going to be on an island on this one, as a matter of fact. But here we go. My hot take is I'm not 100% sure that therapy is working by and large. I see no statistical data that suggests with the push that I've seen for therapy, and we've done it on this show and we will continue to do it on this show because I do believe that people should be in it. We always say if you take care of your body physically, you should take care of your mind as well, and your emotions and everything that go with that. But I am seeing very little statistical data that suggests with the amount of push that we are suggesting and pushing people and tearing down the stigma of going to therapy, I'm seeing very little results.
I agree. But my pushback is real therapy with real intent and real dedication works. It's the same way you see fat people in the gym every goddamn day.
That's true.
People that go to the gym.
We've seen more gyms pop up in the last 20 years than ever before.
Diets,
obesity continues to climb.
Yeah,
that's a great
because
point.
when it's a fad to say you have a therapist or something like that. I would say therapy definitely has helped me uncover and deal with a lot of stuff. Even last year, like I was depressed, clinically depressed, and I had to. Luckily, I didn't have to get on any medication or anything like that. But therapy helped me through it. Therapy, but you have to be dedicated the same way. I have a gym membership. I go to the gym, but not like I was. I can tell the difference in me when I was committed, bought in, and I was going to the gym versus like, I'm gonna go to the gym next week.
Life be happening.
Yeah, and so I think, and it's social media. People have therapists. I know plenty of people that went to therapy and they wanted their therapist to be their friend. And there was a post where it was a female therapist, and she was talking about a lot of women in therapy too. And it goes back to the accountability thing, especially when she see couple therapy. She said she's lost more. She realized when she looked back at her books, when she started losing more of her clients, especially in those couple therapies, when it got to the point where she pushed back or she tried to make the wife or the girlfriend be accountable. It was, she's taking your side. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't like me and all. And so a lot of people will leave therapy because nobody wants to be told they're wrong. Therapy is some hard truth. Life is some hard truth. When you realize that, you big bone and you can go to the gym every day and you ain't gonna lose so much weight. You only gonna lose so much weight, but you can be healthier. You can be toner, but you'll never be back. You'll never be a size 6 again, right? But your body reacts differently. You have more energy. There's positivity to it, but you have to accept your truths. And therapy is one of the biggest things with therapy is accepting those truths. And a lot of people get out of it. Ask how long I would love to see how long people stay in therapy and how committed they are. And even with me being committed, there's things my therapist asked me to do that don't necessarily coincide with my life. Like, he wants me to journal things. I'm not a journaler. Would I be further along? Would I be better? Yeah. So therapy can work, just like anything can work. Exercise without dieting, right? You go to the gym, but you don't diet. That's what explains this, right? I think people think therapy is the cure or the fix all. It's a process. It's a journey. And Risey kind of hits on that all the time,
Yeah, like just kind of what we talked about was the last episode before last. Like it's a journey, and I think with therapy, when it comes down to it, it'll get you back out of that trough, but it's not gonna get you to where you're like, oh, I'm just super happy. I agree with you. I haven't seen where it's like I go to therapy, so now I'm this, love guru walking around, walking on cloud nine type thing. That I've never seen. Like I said, my therapist got me out of that trough. They got me through those hard times, like Ferg said, right, through the depression and all of that stuff. It got me to where I can function, but it didn't make me happy. And so there's that journey. And I know a lot of people say they've gone to therapy or they have a therapist and haven't seen their therapist in a year and a half. Right? They went to a therapist twice 2 years ago. So, yep, they went to therapy and they think that's it. And, it's one of those things that you got to keep working at it. You're going to have good days, have bad days. Sometimes you got to call your therapist. Oh, I'm good. I don't have to call him for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, boom, I got to call my therapist. Right? Like that's the thing. It's that having that person to talk to. Some people don't need a therapist because they have somebody else that they can confide in or whatever. And that gets them to that point where they're good. Right, and they're not going through that low point. But another hot take. You were like, everybody needs a therapist, right? Like everybody isn't trained to do it.
Yeah, I mean, but do you think about it? Like a lot of times, the people you're confiding in are the people who are going to give you the advice that you want to hear. Going back to what I was saying when the therapist was, she was. I wish I could find the video, and she was talking about the fact that when she gave a little pushback, it was a complete 180, right? It's like now all of a sudden this woman who thought you were going to be her saving grace becomes like you feel like you're her worst enemy. And so if Byron's confiding in me and I'm sitting there like, yeah, man, I don't know why Tab would do that, women don't get this. I'm giving you the fuel you need versus me saying, you know what, bro? I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but what is Tab really asking you to do? What does that mean in your relation? Like really asking those tough questions that make you self-check. And then my last thing on this is, you said you're never happy. I think our expectations of therapy might be skewed too.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm gonna be happy and all of a sudden be this relationship guru and my relationships are gonna be so much better. It's like, yeah, you maybe therapy for you is you just learn how to deal with your emotions or recognize your triggers a little bit better and how far you're willing to go. I'll never be a bodybuilder.
So I hear you guys and I agree with most of it, but I guess what I'm saying is, first off, I think we may need to add the caveat when we tell people to go to therapy is you really shouldn't go to therapy until you're ready to be honest. Because like in Ferg's example, when you're talking to your friend about how your wife pissing you off, that's usually because you're skewing the argument in your favor. You leaving out some details. So if you have a reasonable friend, then yeah, he may take your side. But if you give him the straight up unfiltered truth, you have a reasonable friend. They gonna dog, you wrong on that one. You wrong. What if Tabitha did this? What if Z did that? How would you feel? You know what I mean? So I think before we tell people to go to therapy, we need to push out. You have to be ready to be honest, because if you go to the therapist and you're not telling them everything and you're going to skew it your way, then yeah, they're going to confirm your bias, tell you you're not going to have any type of accountability. You're not going to change. You're going to continue to think you're right. But I'm looking at, like I said last week on the show, we had the most suicides ever in 2022. People are more depressed and more unhappy than ever before. And so I'm looking at all of these different pushes and things to go to therapy and how everybody is saying they're in therapy, and yet we're getting more and more unhappy. So I'm not saying that therapy doesn't work. I'm just saying right now, I'm not seeing the results.
The negative things are outpacing the therapy and the folks that's going to therapy. I think that's a little bit of it too. Your social media, you talk about that. All the triggers are there, and it's outpacing me going to therapy. I think that's it.
I'm glad you brought that up too. I think social media can undo some of the gains you make in therapy.
Undo and be the cause of. So it's the fact that you might go to therapy every 2 weeks. You know, I don't think most people are doing it therapy weekly. You know, a lot of people doing it every 2 weeks, maybe monthly. But you're on social media daily,
day.
hours a day.
Yeah.
So, you know, how much are they undoing? And it's funny that you say that about the truth. A good therapist, they're trained to understand that most of the shit you say is skewed. A good therapist is going to give you time and work with you and let you talk as much as you want about your point of view, because they're taking notes. And when you're ready to have that real discussion, point in case, or case in point, my therapist, one of our last conversations last year was me finally talking and opening up my PTSD, right? I've been going to him for 3 years. We just got to the point where we can start talking about that, right? There was other issues, other things, you know, there was marriage counseling. It was dealing with death and all that stuff. Then depression, like all these things, other things. And even then, me lying to myself, because they're not going to force you into a point that you're not ready to discuss. What happens is when a lot of people get to that point that, you know, they push back a little bit, that's when they exit stage left, right? It's, you know, you're going to carefully say the things that you want. Just like you said, when you explain it to why Tabitha's pissing you off, you're going to explain to the therapist the same way. You may be a little bit more open, but you're going to explain to them the same way, but you leave out your part, or, you know, the fact that she's been telling you this for the last 10 years. And even though you started doing it 6 months ago, it's 10 years too late, right? It's, you know, those are the things that you don't get. But good therapist.
All right, man. Y'all ain't bite my head off too bad. So
No. I mean, I get it. I get it. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
So who's next?
Rise, you can go.
I'll go. This one